Emily never imagined her life would turn out this way. At 36, she was a single mother living in a quiet suburb of Ohio, balancing her days between a modest marketing job and raising her 8-year-old daughter Lily. Her mornings started before sunrise, packing lunches and tying shoelaces, and her nights ended with exhaustion and unanswered questions about the future. Her husband had walked out 5 years earlier, choosing freedom over responsibility, leaving Emily to pick up the pieces of a life she hadn't planned to live alone. She didn't hate him anymore. What hurt most was the silence, the empty chair at dinner, the quiet house after Lily fell asleep. Across town lived Daniel Carter, a widowed father of 2. At 40, Daniel carried himself with calm strength, but behind his steady voice was a grief that never fully healed. His wife Sarah had died suddenly in a car accident 3 years ago, leaving him alone with their sons, 12-year-old Noah and 9-year-old Ethan. Daniel worked as a high school history teacher, the kind students trusted and colleagues respected. But when the classroom lights went off and he drove home, the loneliness returned. He still caught himself reaching for his phone to text Sarah about small things, something funny one of the boys said, or how quiet the house felt that evening. Emily and Daniel didn't meet in some dramatic movie-like way. Their worlds crossed in the most ordinary place imaginable, an elementary school gym during a Saturday community event. Lily had joined an art workshop, and Emily sat on the metal bleachers, scrolling through her phone, half listening to the noise around her. Daniel was there for his younger son, Ethan, who insisted on participating even though he claimed he wasn't good at art. When Lily accidentally spilled her paint water onto the floor, and onto Daniel's shoes, Emily rushed over, embarrassed and apologetic. Daniel laughed it off, waving his hand as if it didn't matter. That small moment, that simple kindness, was the first crack in Emily's carefully built walls. They talked while the kids painted. Nothing deep at first, just comments about the weather, school, and how fast children grow up. But there was an ease between them, a comfort that felt surprising to both. When the workshop ended, they exchanged polite goodbyes, not expecting anything more. Yet life has a quiet way of pushing people together when they're meant to meet again. A week later, Emily saw Daniel at the grocery store, then again at a school meeting. Slowly, casual conversations turned into longer ones. They discovered they shared similar values, similar worries, and the same unspoken fear, opening their hearts again only to risk losing everything. Their first coffee together wasn't officially a date. It was just 2 tired parents sitting across from each other at a small cafe, sharing stories about their children and laughing about the chaos of parenthood. Emily talked about Lily's dreams of becoming a veterinarian. Daniel spoke about Noah's struggle with math and Ethan's obsession with dinosaurs. Somewhere between the laughter and the pauses, something deeper began to grow. But love after loss is never simple. Emily struggled with guilt. Part of her felt like moving forward meant erasing the pain she had survived, as if her past suffering had defined who she was. Daniel faced a different kind of guilt. Loving another woman felt like betraying the memory of his late wife. Some nights, he lay awake questioning whether he was allowed to feel happiness again. Their challenges didn't come all at once. They came quietly in small moments. Emily pulled away when Daniel tried to get closer. Daniel became distant when memories of Sarah overwhelmed him. Misunderstandings grew, and for a while, it seemed easier to return to loneliness than to fight for something uncertain. The turning point came unexpectedly. One evening, Lily fell sick with a high fever. Emily panicked, rushing her to the emergency room. In her fear, she called the only person who felt safe, Daniel. He arrived without hesitation, sitting beside Emily for hours, comforting Lily and holding Emily's trembling hands. In that hospital room under harsh fluorescent lights, Emily realized something important. She wasn't alone anymore. Weeks later, Daniel faced his own moment of truth when Ethan asked him, "Dad, is it okay if I like Emily?" That simple question broke something open inside him. He realized that love didn't replace what was lost. It expanded the heart to hold more. They decided to face their fears together instead of running from them. Blending 2 families was not easy. The kids struggled at first, testing boundaries, afraid of losing their place in their parents' heart. There were arguments, awkward dinners, and moments when Emily and Daniel questioned whether they were strong enough to make it work. But they chose patience. They chose communication. Most importantly, they chose love. Not the fairy tale kind, but the real kind that shows up every day. Slowly, the house filled with laughter again. Family game nights replaced lonely evenings. Shared routines created a sense of belonging. Emily watched Daniel become not just a partner, but a steady presence in Lily's life. Daniel saw Emily bring warmth and understanding into his son's world. Years later, standing in their backyard during a simple wedding ceremony surrounded by friends and children, Emily and Daniel exchanged vows not just to each other, but to the family they had built together. There were no grand promises of perfection, only honesty, commitment, and hope. Their story wasn't about finding love easily. It was about finding it bravely. From lonely parents to loving partners, Emily and Daniel proved that life doesn't end when things fall apart. Sometimes that's exactly where a new beginning starts.